And we are live. Hi, everybody. We've got Duke and Don here as usual. And we actually have a topic that probably will take 3 hours to talk about. uh, I've got my cigarello, and my mixed drink. Don's got his cowboy hat. Duke's got a rifle. Uh, Now the topic is black powder guns, cap and ball, muzzleloader, breech loader, revolver, single shot for self defense. Hi, Vanessa Kitty. I just saw your comment come up. But anything as long as it's either black, it has to have black powder. That's it. Who wants? I'll let you two pick who goes first.
Well, pretty much whatever you're comfortable with. I mean,
Well,
you can load black powder in anything you want. 30-30, 30-06, 270, 243. You put it in a bolt action, it's going to come flying out the other end.
George Gooding says evening. Hi, George.
Howdy, George.
How you doing, George?
Well, I think it was Hickok 45 loaded up a bunch of 9mm and with black powder and shot them out of a Glock, and the Glock could just barely cycle them out, but it did the job.
Yeah.
And I think he had a loaded with like 4FG though.
I don't remember what he loaded them with. I just know that he was shooting black powder on them, and then there was a lot of freaking smoke.
Yeah, I've seen that video. I think he put, 2 magazines through it or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was nasty afterwards. And if I have a feeling if it had been like a gas operated, it might have made it through the. Because I think, what was it, Deuce and Guns or something like that? Did a black powder AR, and it basically became a bolt action.
Yeah. That little gas plugged.
Yeah. I think I can't remember who done it, but I think seen someone do an SKS, and it locked up on them. I think after 2 stripper clips full, because of the direct gas impingement just seized.
Yeah, semi-automatic's not going to run very long with. Bolt action's going to be all right. Anything that's mechanically operated with a closed breech and forces it out the barrel, you're not going to be too bad with it.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I need to rephrase the question. What would you personally, if all you could own was black powder, and someone broke into your house, what would be your go-to gun?
Well, I've said this many, many times, and I have to stick to my guns. In 1860, it's been modified to load paper cartridges and conical bullets. Opened up the bridge, changed out the Pietta, the plunger right here, the rammer, whatever you want to call it, with the Uberti, so it doesn't flatten the noses of the bullets. And if you load this gun with 25 to 30 grains of powder with a 217 grain Johnson & Dow conical bullet, you basically have a 45 ACP and a 5-inch 1911.
Mm-hmm.
Because Belis Nemeth, if I said his name correctly, from Hungary, Cap and Ball YouTube channel, he did the comparison, which was just like the Ordnance Department did it back in the day, to take a Colt Walker with 45 grains of powder and a round ball, and they were shooting like 12 by 12, 2 by 12. They had it stacked up about 10 deep. And I can't remember the ballistics of what it did, but basically a Colt Walker with 45 grains and a round ball and an 1860 Army with a conical and 25 grains has the same energy.
Hold on 1 just give me 1 second, and I'll be able. Before I start talking, I'm looking that video up. I haven't. I'm subscribed to him. So,
But anyways, if I had to have one gun, I like my 1860 Army. Now, I've had my share of Colt Navies, and the Colt Navy shoot just as good as the Army. The only thing you're losing is a half-inch barrel. Now, if you want something smaller, and if I put this in perspective, the only difference between a Pietta 1860 and a Pietta 1851 is the barrel assembly and the grip frame. Other than that, it's the same frame, the same cylinder, and the same everything. Because I could take this little Navy snub nose and stick it on my Army, and it'll shoot. For the haters. Oh, didn't knock it out. Let me hit it harder. Make myself a lighter right quick. Well, it's going to need a little. There it goes. I never antique the barrel, so I need to go antique it so it matches the rest of the gun. Now, had I a Navy grip frame or a bird's head, here's your belly gun. It's still a 44. It's still going to shoot the same bullets. It's still going to do everything. That a 31, Duke?
Yeah.
Did you see that video that I posted about somebody finally went and did it, and they shot conical bullets into ballistic gel?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I've got it posted on All Things Cowboys, black powder revolvers and rifles. But I posted that because they finally done went and did it. And what they did is they shot 2 things of ballistic gelatin. They shot it first with the 31, which you got right there, and I think it penetrated 16 inches and bounced back 3.
Yep.
And that was with the 31. Then they shot it with they shot it with a 31, just like what you got. They shot it with an 1860 Army with a conical bullet, and then they shot it with a Colt Walker with one of their conical bullets. I think the Walker, they used the Lee or whatever. And then in the 1860 Army, they shot it with I think it was one of Cato's bullets because it was like a flat point.
Yeah, was that Murphy's muskets?
I'm not sure. It's 2 younger guys.
Yeah, Murphy's muskets and I can't. It used to be Mark III SMLE, but now he's changed his channel name. Yeah, they've done a lot of ballistics testing stuff on there, and yeah, I think they was using Kaitos in that one. I know what video you're talking about. Yeah,
they shot 4 guns. They shot the 31. The 1860, the Walker, and then they shot a Glock 9mm.
It wasn't a Walker, it was a Whitneyville Dragoon, so it's the short barrel.
Dragoon, you are correct.
Yep.
You are correct.
Oh. I'm still looking for that video.
Hey, tongue-tied that one. West Covina Dodge has joined us.
Ooh, I like his option. The Martini Henry with a sawback bayonet.
Yeah, so after you shoot him, you stab him.
Well, I don't know that Martini. If you get good with it, it can be pretty fast. I think if West Covina, correct me if I'm wrong. The British soldiers were trained to shoot 5 shots a minute with it. If I'm not mistaken,
out of it, 7 shots a minute at the minimum, not 12 or 13 or whatever.
Yeah, talking about like just to qualify to be, in there. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not up on British military history. I'm still trying to find
The
it.
only British military history you need to know is we kicked their ass and gained independence.
That is true. Yeah, here it is. The video that you're talking about, Mark. Not Mark.
Don.
Don. Thank you. I had to talk to a guy named Mark all day.
That's okay.
There's a lot of
If
private.
you get me mixed up too much, just refer to me as the lone stranger of the prairie. I mean, it's all right.
Well, I guess since we brought that up, we can. Let me get it to where I can share my screen, and we can. Application window. Chrome. You can get 12 if you cheat and hold it in your right hand. Yeah. But I don't think that would be British standard, though. Because heated combat, you try to grab one, you could lose 2 or 3, and then you.
Well,
When
I shoot a single shot 22, I stick 22s in my finger. So I can work it, pull it, stick them, bang. You know.
If we're gonna go Brits, go the big bore bitch.
Yeah, I've got brown best too. That's what's kind of killed my black powder collection. So I'd say, yeah, stick with that.
And the cool thing about the brown bess is it can be loaded with round ball and any kind of shot you want.
Buck and ball is pretty devastating. 3 buckshots and a round ball, that's pretty devastating.
The only problem is that particular load, sometimes you can get an air gap in there and they'll burst the barrel.
Yeah,
well, what you do is you let me use my teaching aid. You make your paper cartridge, and then you have a dowel rod you shove back. You put the 3 buck in there, and then you shove your dowel rod up in it, and then you basically have paper tied or string tied over here, and you're going to pull that tight and tie it, and then you're going to pull the dowel rod out. You're going to put your ball in, and then you're going to shove it in with the dowel rod to hold it. Then you're going to take the knot down here, loop it, and tie it again, and then you're going to tie off the knot. Then you're going to put your powder charge in it. And then that's when you put you fold it flat, you fold the wings in, and you fold it over, then back over, just like Civil War. So you can't really get an air gap in it because it's a contained paper cartridge, and it's all one solid piece. That's basically the way they did it for the 42 Springfields.
Yeah. I was just thinking about, you load it like a shotgun. You put your powder down there, then you put a cardboard or something, cork or something on top of that. You throw your.
What is a piece of toilet paper? You fold it up like this, and then you stuff it in there, and as it comes out, it's going to open up, and then it's just disintegrated by the powder.
Yeah, paper. I tried that load, and that turns into a big ball of embers. That's why I've been going to use my best for hunting, but as dry as it gets here in the fall during hunting seasons, I'm so afraid of starting a fire with that. I got to find some fire. What's that?
Keith Burgess from New Zealand. Hunter. Well, anyways, Keith he's got videos on everything. He's like one of my bushcraft long hunter idols.
Right.
And he has a punch and makes leather wads. That way, because that was one thing he said is, I guess out there in his part of New Zealand, it gets really dry and everything, and he doesn't like to use cloth patch or paper because of the fire hazard, so he uses leather.
That's tradition. I might have to try that.
He puts leather down over the powder, puts a shot in, and it has another piece of leather for the overshot.
Yeah, that'd probably be good. I mean, dude, you've got probably God knows how much extra leather laying around.
God, yeah.
Yeah, and all you need is a punch for the bore size.
Which is 75 caliber, so it's just use a 3/4 inch
3/4 inch punch.
It should work.
All right, so let's get to this little share part that I wanted to do for this, and I hope that these guys don't mind. I'm gonna unmute this. So
We're not making any money. We're just promoting their video.
yeah.
And here's Murphy's Muskets. He's my special guest today. We're going to be doing some ballistic gel testing with Captain Ball revolvers.
Oh, hold on, dude. This is what he changed his name to. All Outdoors.
Yeah.
We'll start with a 31 caliber 1840 David Dragoon, and we're going to work our way up to a 44 caliber.
I don't know why, but it's got a really bad echo on my end.
16-inch blocks.
It's fat. All I want to see is a shooting part, anyways.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that part. I'm gonna find that part real quick.
Right there. I think you went too far, but
let's see.
This is Joe from PoliticalAssist.com, and we're going to see what 3 major calibers available at the time we're able to do. We're going to be using
that goes in, but then it bounces back like 3 inches on the 31.
Well, hold on. I'm getting a weird echo. I'm getting the weird echo now. Hold on.
And I don't know why, but why they do that. But yeah, everybody's because who is it? Military Arms Channel. They did a ballistics test on a 1860 and the 1860 Army, the 44. It bounced back like 3 or 4 inches.
I think
I think it's
some reason inherited with the round balls.
Could be. They're rolling back.
I think it is. Let me see if that echo is gone now for everybody.
31, 36, and the 44.
Nope.
Start with a 1848 David Dragoon 31. A 31 caliber revolver like this was a very popular civilian handgun. It was never adopted by any military grains of fine black powder. So let's put my eyes on and let's give it a go. All right, let's take
Okay, I'm gonna say something, and I hope that everyone here doesn't get offended by it. The only thing I have a problem with is how close they are.
Well, with that 31 caliber, yeah, it's if you're going to do any damage, you got to be that close because that little shit loses a lot of energy right quick.
That's pretty much a belly gun for. I decided I don't want to partake in your knife fight or stay on that side of the card table.
Yeah, well, I will at least card table length. Just that's the only little nitpick.
Besides that little bitty gun, unless you hit a vital or hit an artery or vein, not going to be a deadly round. It's going to be more of an inconvenient round.
Yeah,
well,
that's
a 30-11 round ball, and when you stop and think about the energy to that little bullet went in there 16 inches and bounced back to 13 or whatever it was, that's equivalent to a 32 ACP. Like a 903 or something. That's going to do about the same damage. I mean, it's adequate to kill somebody if you hit the vital.
Right.
But it's mainly, changing their mind about mugging you, killing you, whatever. And not the best gun to shoot somebody wired up on crack cocaine with, but
Right. But the thing about the 31 round ball is that a round ball, when it tumbles, it's round. It's not gonna
round ball.
But with a 32 ACP, that's a conical. That tumbles. That starts creating a bigger area of transfer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or it's a hollow point that expands.
Right. So this, it's better than nothing, but this would not be my first choice.
Yeah, it wouldn't be my first choice either, but it could. I mean, if
I do have maybe Mark Hubbs maybe I ought to get some ballistics gel and test this, but I got some of Mark Hubbs' pocket model bullets for this. I've tested the accuracy on them, and I don't remember how good they were, but the only problem with this gun is it's got a real bad habit with cap sucking, so that's another reason why I wouldn't trust this particular gun.
Well, here's an opinionated question. Since we're on the that little 31 or that little 31 versus the snub nose 44.
Oh, I don't know.
I think that 44 is going to do a little bit more damage than this little shit is.
Yeah, because, well, I don't have a 31. I have a 36. I mean, but just 31 smaller, than this one, and that's a 44.
This thing uses double-aught buckshot for the round, so it's one single double-aught buckshot pellet.
Yeah, that's what this is what I use for. Well, this is triple-aught buck, according to the manual I have. Because it's the 380 instead of the 375
Right.
round ball. So when I had that little Navy, I was shooting triple-aught buck at you.
Right.
And triple-aught buck is a very good home defense round.
Well, that's why I was saying with the Brown Bess, the 42 Springfield and all that, when you make buck and ball loads, you're going to get hit by 3 pieces of 35 caliber buckshot, a 450, 80, 500 grain round ball. So, I mean, that's a lot of lead. That's 3 40 grain round balls and a 480 grain round ball out of one barrel at the same time. Think about somebody just pointing an Uzi at your chest and putting like a 12 round burst of 9mm into the center of your chest. That's pretty much what you're getting from a big round ball and 3 pieces of buckshot.
But at the time that the British was doing that, the whole idea of warfare was as much lead in the air as possible, and the aiming wasn't.
Well, that's it. Inside of 70 yards, that buck and ball was the sunken road.
Right.
The Irish Brigade came across that field and got tore up by the Confederates at distance. But once they closed within 70, 75 yards, they were using 42 Springfields with buck and ball loads, and they decimated the Confederates down inside the sunken road.
Yeah, well, I got to go out and do more testing videos.
I gotta go out and do more videos, period. But I've been doing more family stuff than I usually do. So
Family stuff is good.
yeah. My niece, she's gonna be 4 years old this year. We took her hunting, her first squirrel hunt. Didn't get anything, but we took her hunting today. So I've been doing a lot of hunting this year. Haven't had a lot of time to go to the shooting range and make videos.
Well, Lexi's usually my camera girl, so she gets participation.
Oh, I didn't know that. He had a video for paper cartridge construction for the percussion sharps. I didn't know he had that.
Who's that?
A Captain Ball. I'm not seeing it no more.
Yeah, I follow him on YouTube. He had some really good stuff when he did the revolvers, but he hasn't done much revolver stuff here lately.
Oh no, I'm on the videos, right? I'm thinking maybe he had me took down.
They're still out there. You just got to do a search for them. I'm not subscribed to the channel or nothing, but I can usually find stuff when I look for it.
Oh, and for those of you that was watching or just joining in, that video of Hickok 45 shooting black powder out of a Glock is I put that link up there towards the top earlier if you want to watch that. It's kind of entertaining.
Maybe it's this. Come on.
Yeah, West Covina, turkeys do beat videos any day. I thought about taking a camera and trying to film with that, and I thought, no, it's such a pain in the ass, and it was just me and Dad. If I had somebody that could run a camera, maybe I'd take them, but that was a lot of fun anyway.
I don't know. I can't find it. I'll probably find it like after the stream's over.
Well, I got something I can throw in right quick. If you're going to have black powder for self-defense, then the one thing that is common and true for all applications, black powder or whatever, is shotguns, and this is one of my prized possessions.
Ah,
An old CVA shot bag. You put this around your shoulder and it hangs just like that off your body. You come down here. Now, let's see if you can see it. You get your fingers underneath that, and then when you pull this back, it opens the little gate, and the shot pours down inside here. And I don't want to spill it if I got any in there, but excuse me. Y'all can see this now. You pull back on this. Put your thumb on it and just pull that back. And you got a little catch. Manipulate my camera here. And there they come. I knew that was going to happen.
Dog gets to play 1,000-shot pickup.
Shot pickup.
There we go. There they can see you.
But there is my little thing, which is full of shot.
oh,
But that's how it works. That is how it works. And I tell you what, I am not. One thing I hate in life, I don't hate much. I hate birdshot. I totally hate birdshot.
it's a pain in the ass, ain't it?
It is. It is not fun. It is not fun.
Oh, that's not how we have it. This. That's how we have it. All right.
So I got one that makes good home defense, and you could technically load it with a black powder load.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I did not load it.
That's not that's a Mossberg Shockwave, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because that is a manually operated shotgun, and you can load that with anything you want to put in it. It'll work just fine. Because one of the things I have that I actually like to use is my 1875 Parker Brothers, built in 1887. And even if I take my, I don't think you can see it. I don't know if I turn my computer over here or not. Knocking everything over there. Right here. This one is my $10 special lead load all. And that's what I use to reload modern 12 gauge shotgun shells.
That's all right.
And the reason I'm bringing this up is for my Parker Brothers. I don't think it's Damascus barreled, but it is an 1875 built in 1887. And if I load modern shotgun shells on that press, the only thing I got to do to shoot that in that Parker Brothers is put black powder in the shell.
Oh, damn it. I about had it.
So that's perfect little candidate for shooting black powder shotgun shells. And you don't have to use solid brass. You can use low base stub and quill holes or whatever you want.
Right.
All right, I'm about to try something for the very first time. So if it don't work, don't shoot me. I'm trying something new, guys.
Yeah, I made the mistake when I first got this shotgun. I took it out to the range to try to train with it. I did my transition from my handgun to my long gun as I was doing a transition from secondary to primary. Swapped this out, whereas usually I'd been using an AR-15. So I dumped the pistol, I stuck it in the holster, and I grabbed this thing and I brought it up like I was going to shoulder it right on the end of the chin.
Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah. Woke me up.
Yeah, I did. I had the TAC 14 for a short time, and I did the video out there in my my old Straw Ranger hat about 2 years ago now, I guess. It might have been last summer. I can't remember, but yeah, I did the TAC 14 training thing on the videos. Those are very handy little guns.
I want to get the Remington TAC 14, the semi-auto version.
They had those at the gun show this last. I've only been to like 3 gun shows in the last 2 years because I have everything I want. The ones we got around here is save people same junk and same high prices that they got every time I go.
Yeah, shit.
I think that semi-automatic version would fit in my offside leather carbine boot.
Yeah, probably.
And with a little bit of modification in the right strap, you could, or you could make like a belt holster out of that.
I went. I got one online. I think I paid $20 or $30 for it. It's a specific holster for this gun, and it fits on my shit hit the fan bag, my bug out bag. So I've got this attached to my bug out bag.
Well, now, is that classified as an other or a pistol?
This is classified as a firearm, but it falls under handgun rules.
So I'm going to go out on a leap in the state of Texas. All right, in the state of Texas, what it says in our handgun laws, if I have a license to carry, which I do, and I'm transporting a loaded handgun in my car, I don't have to conceal it because I have a license to carry and I can carry open or concealed. But if I don't conceal the gun inside the center console of the glove box, it must be in a holster.
Yeah. The thing though in the federal law, and it says it very clearly.
Basically, the way they word it, hide it from the eyes of the curious public, then I don't have to have a holster.
Right.
So the little carbine boot with a little belt loop on it classifies as a holster. So if you just slide it into the holster, you can lay it on the seat next to you.
Right.
And being a semi-automatic, you pull it out enough for the bolt to clear, bang, 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 bang.
Right. This one, it said that it shipped with a letter from the ATF, and it said that this is a firearm. However, if it is used for concealed carry purposes or is concealed anywhere upon the body, then that classification is no longer a firearm. It is now a short barrel shotgun. So you cannot use this for concealed carry.
But you can make a belt holster and carry it as a...
Yeah. And that holster that I got for it, it comes with a strap, so you could put it up over your shoulder and carry it on your back. Pull it out. Like I said, I've got it attached to the backpack. It just makes it easier to kind of keep track of. But yeah, if you wanted to carry it under a trench coat, then it's classified as a short barrel shotgun.
All right.
Is that they made a grip for this. It's a pistol grip with one of those braces on there. And with that brace, it extends it out because this thing, if it's under 27 inches, that's how they classify it as a firearm. But that brace makes it over 27. So I don't know how they're getting away with doing some of that, but.
Well, I'm going to put a video out there I watched, and it's very educational, and it's worth a good listen. The video is called "Everything You Should Not Know About Suppressors," and they talk about how they pushed the NFA, the National Firearms Act of 1934, and all the banning suppressors and all that, and it really makes no sense. And I think people are just getting tired of it, which is why they lighten it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because short barrel shotguns are, you can't own a handgun in Canada for the most part, but you can have a short barrel shotgun.
Yeah, in Canada, there's no barrel size limit. I mean, you can take You can buy a mare's leg pistol in Canada and put a full length shoulder stock on it. It's totally legal to do that. You do it here in the US though, and you get 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, Wes Cavina says Eagle Eye Shooting did 10 rounds of black powder and an SKS. He made his own powder. And also, I don't know if y'all can see, but it successfully worked. I don't know how much echo there was, but it worked. And I've got it pointed on this. And there's a reason why I have it pointed on this. Because no matter what you choose, whether it be one of these, either rifled or smoothbore or inline. This one actually can hold up to 100 grains. One of these, which I love. One of these of any variant. It kind of does matter what kind of bullet you're using. And as y'all can see here, I got a bunch of different types of bullets.
Yeah, kill people. It's the darn bullets.
Yeah, there you go. Now everyone can kind of see it a little better. I've even got a 50 cal hollow point in there. All right, there we go. And I figured before everything was said and done, I would weigh them out and everything, and we could kind of explain why, size matters.
Well, I'll tell you, it matters. It's been probably a year ago, but I remember somebody posted in my group, all things cowboy, black powder revolvers and rifles, that he had a break-in and he defended himself with a 54 caliber Lyman single shot pistol, and he used a 400 and something grain Lee real bullet, which is basically like that 54 caliber Sharps bullet you got down there. And it basically went through the guy, cut him in half, and he had to patch the hole in his wall. And he basically shot him with, I think, 100 grains of black powder, and that 54, probably that's a 54, 53. He probably used the exact same bullet as what you got on your fingers.
Probably. Okay, well, let's...
The guy either died at the hospital or died en route to the hospital.
Thing of it is, when you shoot 100 grains of powder out of a short barrel, you're going to cauterize that wound because all that powder ain't going to burn inside the barrel. It's going to burn
across the rooms. He basically made himself a smoke while he was reloading.
It might have been that gas pressure coming out of the muzzle might have done some damage too. If it's
shot like blam, yeah. The like getting hit by a concussion grenade.
I watched a promo video a friend of mine did with a Mosin Nagant, and he shot a watermelon at point blank range with a military load. You can see the bullet go into the watermelon, and it kind of pokes a hole, and there's a little shockwave goes through, and goes out the backside, and then the muzzle blast hits the watermelon and finishes the job. I mean, it just disintegrates a freaking watermelon.
I don't know if anyone can. I don't know if I'm.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, you used 14 pounds of black powder in the steel torpedo on the Hunley to sink a Union warship, so you're only 4 pounds off from sinking a battleship.
Oh, Rusty Allen says evening. Hi, Rusty. Well, I'm gonna make this second camera solo layout for just 1 second. I don't have any 36s because I just haven't casted any in forever. Here's a 36. I use these for a triple aught buck. And they, oops. Dadgummit. Trying to get it to sit on that spur.
I need a little bitty pan or something. That's a 80 grain bullet.
Yeah, 80 grain. Now, out of a shotgun, We lost Duke. Hopefully he is able to come back. Out of a shotgun, for a 20 gauge, I use 6 of these. For a 12 gauge, I would use 8. So 8
6
times.
grains.
Yeah, that's a lot of lead. And so if you've got a 69 caliber, 50 grains, that's about a 20 gauge. So you'd use 6. Yeah, there he is. All right. But yeah, Duke, about how far off is this round ball from the ones you cast?
What size is it?
380.
I've never weighed my 380s.
Well, I just got it because I didn't know what what bore diameter, so I got bigger for that. Now I have 2 different kinds of round balls. Some that Don gave me the last time he was here, and they're a little bit harder. And black powder 45 Colt round ball loads, and they shoot pretty well. 175 grains. That's some out on 30. I think I can get 35 grains underneath one of these at full case capacity.
I always thought those were more like 135 grain, but yeah, that's pretty awesome to be 175 grain round ball.
Yeah, but it might be the mix. So I think you said that was a little bit of a, what was it, battery terminal lead?
Hawker battery terminal lead.
Now this one right here is pure roofing tin lead. So about as close as pure lead as you're going to get nowadays.
Yep, so that's your 148 grain right. That's 138.
Yeah. That's probably on the light side of what so just the mix there too. The different mix of it made up a big difference. And yeah, I can actually load these into the Remington. I won't be doing a video on that one separately. I just got to get the reloading stand built. Now this is, wait, I do have a Johnson & Dow. Hold on. One second.
217, 18, 19 grain.
Let me go see. Let me go find it real quick. I do have one. Let me turn this off. That way you have an accurate comparison. Hold on.
No mystery solving what was annoying.
I'm coming up. I remember where it was. This is probably one of the last few that I do have, and it's a lot of broken cartridge, so it's got all that lube on it. So let me there's a paper towel around here somewhere.
Jeremy, outside some at the end of the barrel.
Yeah, it's just since I'm weighing these other ones without lube on it, just to make it a somewhat fair comparison. Oops. There we go. Now I'm going to be getting more of these. What in the world? Okay, my phone went into maintenance reboot mode.
Oops. Oh, God. I just seen that one post you did to that beer joint topics one about the superhero costume only worn twice.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
There's some funny ones. I posted some funny ones on there. That's not the family friendly group either. That's the adult humor politics one.
Yeah.
Hey, don't know what happened. Can y'all hear me?
I got you.
All right. Hey, JH. Having some, I don't know what happened. Honestly, I don't, and I got. Oh God, that annoys me. There we go. No, I gotta turn the phone went wonky, then everything went wonky for a second. I don't know what happened. But we got through the. You're JH again. But yeah. So yeah, mix on lead doesn't matter too, because we saw a big difference between just the two different 44s.
Yeah, about 32 grains.
Yeah. Well, my round
ballers to put plenty of lube on them.
Oh, I was waiting for it to become that wrong, but no.
I'll be back in 1 second.
It always happens. It always happens. But the reason why I have this scale is, and I weigh my round balls, is because I want the most consistent accuracy out of them for my black powder handgun shooting.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't really worry about too much consistency at 25 yards. Now, when you start talking about reaching out to 1,000, yeah, I'm pretty damn serious about it. But up close, doesn't make too much difference.
Well, that kind of all up right there.
Well, we're talking about black powder, so we're talking about seating our nipples, getting our balls rammed, making sure they've got plenty of lube on them, shooting off our wads.
I don't. I actually don't use wads, those felt wads underneath mine.
I do, because it really scours the bore out after every shot, so I don't have near the fouling with wads as I do with grease.
Well, it seems like it, from my personal testing, it seems like it makes it a little less accurate to me.
Yeah. Well, I've got a bunch of videos where I've shot them with wads, and if you look, I mean, sometimes there's a really good tight groups with them. The biggest problem with me and not shooting real good is sometimes the guns that I got aren't really made for accuracy. You birdies, I got a couple problems with a couple of you birdies having chambers that are undersized. That really screws it. And if they're oversized, then that's even that much worse because you really can't fix that.
All right.
Hi, Jamie.
Yeah.
I didn't see he jumped on there.
Yeah. All right. Now we can get back to talking about our balls. Why weight matters. Well, size matters. There we go. Turn this back on. Make sure it's all right. And what sucks, I'm having to do this from behind a camera. Yeah. All right. We'll start. We've already done the round balls. Let's start with probably what's going to be the lightest. This Sugarloaf style bullet. I think that's what it is, isn't it?
What? Give me a second. I was trying to read a message on Facebook here. What's that?
This bullet here is the Sugarloaf one, right?
Yeah, that's a Sugarloaf style. Yeah.
Yeah. 194, 93, somewhere around there. That's not bad.
That's that little brass mold cartridge bullet or whatever.
Yeah.
What caliber is it?
That's a 44. Well, it's 45. It's a 451 diameter.
It's 50 grains heavier than a round ball.
Here's the Mark Hubbs Johnson and Dowell.
That should be about 217-ish.
222. Holy shit.
That's going to be an alloy issue now. Those things
Yeah.
range 214 to 221, 22-ish.
Yeah, the guy I bought him from, he said
17s.
the guy I've got him from, he said he used an historical mix of the lead.
Oh, it's probably got a little tin in it.
Yeah. Now,
Which that should have made it lighter, not because lead is heavier than tin.
well, I think I don't.
Use out of alloy is 20 pound, either 20 or 30 pounds of lead to 1 pound of nickel.
Well, like I said, I don't know. I wasn't casting. I didn't cast it, but that's what it came out, and that's what they all came around 220.
Well, that's why I said if you use an 1860 Army revolver with an 8-inch barrel and you use that conical bullet with 25 to 30 grains of powder, you are going to have the equivalency of a 45 ACP out of a 5-inch 1911.
Okay. Now, I can load this into my 45 Colt or my Captain Ball revolver off the gun. Now, all of these are in the same weight range because these are all, I carry them with me every day. I want them to be shooting as close to point of aim as possible for my reloads. That's what the majority of them was on this last batch was coming out of.
Now, you shooting those with black powder at loads?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a real bad problem with those, because I got that exact bullet. I got a real nasty problem of it lead in a barrel.
Well,
America, and we really don't realize it a lot.
well, I can do this so I can get rid of that one. Remove from screen. There we go. Hold on. Just give me 1 second. All right. What I do is kind of like what Don does. He's actually showed me now. Doesn't let up the barrel as much. Is I load it in all the way around. I'm not going to put that on there while in the gun. I'll put a lube ring on that. The lube ring full. And then I put a little bit on top of it. That works. Night West Covina and night Rust.
I think Rusty was saying night to West Covina, but I could be wrong.
Or this is actually where I use the felt too-thin milk cartons and a lube wad. It compresses the powder a little bit because I usually fill it up, put that in there, compress it, put the bullet on top of it, and then it compresses and there's no shake, there's no looseness to it. It works. Something cool. That gum. My phone was at 100%. Now it's at 75%. Goodness gracious. That drains the battery. But yeah, I basically load it. The 40 when I use these, most of the time I reload it like a Henry Martini round with the lube cookie. And kind of helps. Maybe you could try that and see if it helps in yours, Duke. Oh,
I might try that, but I found a bullet mold for the historical 250 grain bullet that would have come in a 45 Colt load. So I'm gonna get that mold here one of these days, and I'm gonna cast them up and then I'll shoot them. But what's funny is I did those loads with that bullet. I loaded 50 rounds of Schofield and 50 rounds of Colt, and the 50 rounds of Schofield with that black powder loads at 25 yards, I was getting them all in a group that big around.
maybe it has something to do with your rifling.
Well, I've always heard that the Uberti 45 Colts really love the Schofield loads, but with them black powder loads, I mean, I think I just had the right amount of powder to bullet weight combo.
Well, you got to remember with the long Colt versus Schofield, you have got case length and inner case volume. So the Schofields are going to have less volume and higher pressure.
Right.
And maybe that's why I don't have that problem when I make it like a Henry Martini round. Because black powder, compressed black powder gives you a little bit more oomph. If I'm not mistaken.
When I loaded them within 1/8 of an inch of the case rim when I loaded the black powder in there on them and used the exact same weight of bullet. But yeah, when I was shooting that, I mean, that 45 Schofield, I mean, it really put them in a real tight circle. The 45 Colts were fairly tight, but every once in a while you get one that kind of fly off to one side or the other. But I think it was the 45 Colts is what caused the barrel to let out the bat worst.
Or the fact you shot 100 rounds that day of lead rounds.
Oh, 100 rounds? Pfft. Try 175.
Yeah, that's probably what it done. Because
when it was all said and done, after I cleaned the barrel, I saved all the pile of junk that come out of the barrel. And when I washed it off and I weighed the lead that was left, and there was about 20 grains of lead in the barrel.
That's not bad. I mean, you can throw that back into the casting pot. That's 20 grains you got back.
In a barrel that long, yeah, that was a lot of lead for that barrel, I thought. But
you know, I guess it's weird. I usually shoot like cap and ball. I probably shoot. I think the most I've shot in a day is 70 rounds. But the only thing I ever use to clean my bore with is sometimes I'll pull a bore snake through it. But I got these 3 plastic brushes. I very rarely ever even put brass or copper inside through my bore. I just typically I'll run it underneath the hot tap water in the sink, and I just stab this through it until it comes out like a mirror.
Right. I like to use the jag patch combo.
Do what?
The jag and patch combo. I got a cleaning jag on a thing, and then I put a couple patches on it, and then I soak the barrel in ballistol, and I take it out and I take one of those patches, soak the ballistol. Usually I can get the barrel mirror in about 3 passes with the jag and patch. Just do 2 wets and a dry, and the barrel's clean. But when I had that leading problem, it was like 45 patches before I finally got to where it was all said and done. I still had to take a brush and brush the bore. But yeah, when it leaded that barrel, it leaded it good.
Was it a new gun or an old gun when you get at it?
That was a new gun. I had only had 100 rounds in it beforehand, so.
It might have had some irregularities in the bore.
Yeah, that could be. Cimarron is my 45 Colt, my Cimarron 45 Colt that I've had on the channel here.
Well, it wasn't this one. It was this Remington. First 200 rounds, I would have a little bit of leading in it from just round ball. And I thought, I'm using oversized round ball, but let me shoot a few more and just see if it happens again. And just progressively got less. And I'm like, maybe just. And I'll.
They say you break a barrel in. So you got to now with modern CNC machinery and everything, modern rifles. You know, your $300 Walmart deer rifles is good as your $1,000 one because they got the same barrel in it, just a different finish and a crappy stock. And but point is, with modern machining techniques, barrels are pretty much polished right out of the factory. In a lot of cases, they are.
Yeah.
If you shoot a jacketed bullet and then you run a patch through it, shoot a jacketed bullet, 5 bullets, 5 patches, then a bullet, 5 bullets, a patch, and you kind of break and lap that barrel in, it will polish it. Another thing that I have done, like with my trapdoor carbine, take a 452 45 Colt bullet and paper patch it to 458 diameter, load it in your 45-70, you start shooting paper patch bullets. You talk about polishing a barrel with some abrasive carbon and paper. Those things will turn into some slick barrels.
I know the Savage. I've got a 6.5 Creedmoor Savage 110, and I swabbed the barrel with a patch once, and I looked down the barrel, and there was so much fuzz left over from that because they really, they get the barrels to where they look smooth, but there's still enough there that it can catch on things. So I wound up using what they call final finish, bullets that are impregnated with aluminum oxide powder. That's the stuff they use on a strop. Shot 10 of them through there, and now it's slicker and shit. But they say you do that every 200 rounds. They say to shoot 2 of those bullets through there because that'll also prolong the throat erosion.
Well, I did load it up a little over 150 rounds of 308. I had a bunch of 7.62 by 51 NATO machine gun brass, and I wanted to load stuff up I could basically shoot out of the BLR and the M1A, and I haven't even shot my Savage in yet. It's the Savage Model 12.
Oh, okay, big bastard.
The big bastard with the 26-inch barrel.
Yep.
I put the Cabela's caliber specific scope on it.
Oh, okay.
I have yet to zero that rifle in, but I have good expectations of reaching out accurately at 600 yards or better with that gun.
I had a problem with Mike because on my 6.5 Creedmoor, I put a Vortex Diamondback tactical on it because the turrets are all adjustable from the side once you get them zeroed. And I had that thing zeroed. Well, I took it up to the range and I was shooting out to 400 yards with it. And I had to play around with my top turret. But when I went to go bring it back to zero, last time I took it out and shot it, it was 2 MOA off at 100 yards. So I don't know what the hell happened. But
question. I did the video on my group at one time about the 30-30 because I put the, you got the scope rings that look like this. They're 2 pieces, and you could take my scope and twist it inside the ring. So I shit canned them and put some traditional Weaver, with the side wheel. But anyways, when I put a scope on and I zero it, I'll mount the scope ring bases. Because remember, I don't like this. I like this.
Right.
I'll put this on the scope, and then I'll tap that, and I'll seat that into totally seated in there, and I get it hand tight, and then I go 180. Or I do a 180 to lock it down, even pressure on both rings. But I'll tap that base. Then I'll put the scope in it, and then I'll put the top rings on, and I'll tighten it down. And then I will tap all my scope mounts. And as I zero it, I'll keep tapping it. And that way all the friction comes, because like an old Weaver K4, K5 scope, my dad never hunted, but my stuff, don't touch my rifle. If you bump it, you'll knock my scope off. You don't knock a scope off with 40 foot-pounds of pressure holding on. But those crosshairs have got tension in them. And if you don't beat those mounts and beat those turns and tap on that scope to vibrate it, then every time you shoot it, you're jolting those crosshairs, and if they have tension on it, you go from here to here to here to here. So you beat the hell out of that scope, and mainly on those mounts, and you seat those mounts down into the Picatinny or to the Leopolds or Redfields, but you seat those scope mounts into, or the rings into those mounts, and you get all the tension out of those crosshairs. So every time you shoot, there's no place for it to go because it's already free and it's already settled into the mounts and everything else. And that's what I do. I beat the crap out of my. People think I'm nuts if I go do it at a shooting range. Like, what the hell are you beating on that gun for? I just don't like it. It's a piece of shit. I hate it. I'm not going to waste my breath trying to explain it to them. If I got to explain it to you and you're here with me, I got nothing for you. But a lot of young people don't know that.
Yeah, and I've seen that done before. But I think the problem with this one is that in order to zero it on this gun, what you do is you turn the turret and you get it zeroed, and then you take a screw out, the turret comes off, you rotate it, and you line up 0 on the 0 line.
Yeah.
I think what's happened is that turret is slipping.
That could be also. All right. Well, that's why good finger adjustable turrets. They're not cheap. They're not cheap by any means.
But when I first shot that, when I was shooting at the 400 yards, I was using factory ammo. When I had the problem of it being 2 MOA low, I was using my own home cast or my own my reload, so that could be part of it too. But all I know is I wasn't shooting the bug holes with my reloads like I should have been shooting. But
I just let me knock my little model robot over again. You can see it over here. All right, can you see my new RCBS rifle powder dispenser set next to my old crappy Lee Red one?
Is that the automatic dispenser?
Well, it's all single stage, but I just got that today, and that little Lee one is all right. But you got to check your you got to check it every 10 rounds. Otherwise, that little pistol one it doesn't hold up.
Yeah. I'm just using the scoop and put it in a pan and weigh it and then trickle it and then dump it in.
I got plenty of boar snakes, bud. Somebody made a post to use boar snakes. Yeah, I use them. I use them a lot.
Well, anyway, Jen, I'm going to have to call a night because I got to get my dogs and I got to be at work tomorrow. So,
well, Dookie, what I was going to say is I just dumped the powder out of the dispenser in the first 100 rounds. The last 50, I screwed it in a little bit, so I dropped less than my target load, and then I trickled the balance in, so I had basically 100 just dump it service loads, and then I have 50 precision loads.
Right.
Good night,
Rusty.
Yeah, Rusty, I think I'm going to sign out too. So we'll see you, gents.
All right. Night, Duke.
Yep.
Duke, you be good. I'm not going to be too far behind you tonight.
Man,
See ya.
I just want to get this because I forgot to do it beforehand. I forgot to talk about the big 50 and the 54. So here's a 54 round ball. And again, this is what, some of my hunting loads. This is for my pistol. So likes the round balls the best. This is the Lee Real Bullet for 50 490 round ball. Lee Real Bullet 490 caliber diameter.
$380.
Yeah. And this is a store-bought power belt that I use out of the night as a slug because it's smooth bore. And they're advertised as $295 when I bought them. That's a little, and that's what all of them that I have weighed. They're all in the 300 range. But the thing is, Hold on. Oh, there we go. I take this little green piece off. $295.8. So that makes it, I mean, so if you want accurate shots, I'm saying cast your own. Because all my Lee, they're coming out about the same. Now here's the thing. This is a 50 caliber that I just weighed, right? I love that memory thing that it has. This is the 54. This is one that was underweight and was in my throwaway, was that sitting at the top of my casting pot to be remelted down. I don't know if y'all can see why. Don, you'd probably be able to recognize. Oh, let me put it up on the good camera.
Well, it's going to have a few wrinkles, imperfections, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, all the where it's supposed to be nice and sharp. I don't know if you can tell in this one, like that.
It's kind of like loose, rounded.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, it looks like it just doesn't look good.
Yes, less than perfect.
Yeah, way less than perfect. And the Lee 360, might as well say 65 grains. This is an imperfected one. The perfected one comes out closer to 370, and I found the Lee Real Bullet is the lightest 54 caliber you can get. So therefore, out of the sharps that I have, because it's only 54 that I have, it's going to be moving the fastest.
Well, if you're going to go self-defense, to stick with the main subject and the whole 9 yards, it has to be an effective round. You can kill anybody you can kill people with an ice pick, but that doesn't mean that you want to get stabbed 15 times with a Bowie knife before he collapses.
That is true.
You want it to be an effective, you want what you're using to be effective to stop somebody before they can destroy your property, hurt the people you love, or hurt or kill you. The second thing you need it to be is reliable. It has to go off and it has to work. It can't be, like the old little Jeff Lester's cheapest ammo works most of the time.
Yeah.
Y'all seen the meme about the bear walking around with a rag, piece of rag out of somebody's shirt and the gun laying there. So it's got to be effective. It's got to be reliable, and you have to be comfortable enough with it and proficient enough with it to use it and to use it well. So picking a good cartridge, like I say, if you have a 44 cap and ball pistol, either a Navy or an Army, and you have the means of loading conical bullets with 25, 30 grains of black powder, you have the equivalent to a modern 45 ACP. For all general purposes, it's either a 38 special plus P. Well, they say with a round ball, you're shooting a 38 special. With a conical bullet, you're either shooting a 357 or a 45. I think they're closer to 45 because I've shot wet catalogs and paper, and with the penetration that I got out of them, I was quite impressed by shooting conical bullets. A harder alloy lead's not going to distort as bad, and it's going to penetrate deeper. Soft alloy, if you go to my group and go into photos, you're going to be out of luck because I got so many photos, it takes you an hour to get to the bottom. But the bullets distort really bad in wet paper, and that's probably pretty close to tough organs, muscle, and bone. So if you're casting your own bullets and you're shooting something like 54 caliber 350 grains of lead or above, kind of like even a single shot with that real bullet we were talking about, the gentleman who shot the guy in his house.
Something probably has a little bit longer burn. I think the 54s have this has an 8-inch burn. I think the 54
15 feet, I don't think it has enough to make any difference. At 15 feet from one end of the room to the other. The 458 SOCOM is what Special Forces adopted. And I'm going to touch on this. Basically, it's a 45-70 458 diameter bullet, 350 grains, up to 600 grain bullet. And they wanted something that would stop a man with one shot at close range instead of having to use 3 or 4 or 5 rounds out of a standard M4. So if you look what we're talking about, using black powder weapons is exactly what the modern day military has gone back to, but they're using it with modern ammunition in an AR-15 platform. You take a big piece of lead, you throw it out there about 1,300 to 1,800 feet per second, and it knocks a man down and they don't get up.
Because I go to that muzzleloading shooting, Arkansas muzzleloading shooting. They had last week. They had a military competition. Military rifles only.
That North-South Alliance?
No, it's usually just muzzleloading only, but because the national for the actual shooting competitions, I didn't qualify this year to go shoot. I took part in their open military rifles. All it had to be was a black powder muzzleloading or breech loading military rifle. There was Trapdoor Springfield. I was competing against Trapdoor Springfields, cartridge Sharps.
I'll tell you what, if you have your own against modern cartridge trapdoors and Sharps with a paper cartridge Sharps, you are doing a damn good job.
Well, there was 25 people there, and I placed in the top 10. And the ranges were 100, 200, and 400 yards. 400 yards is what screwed me over.
Yeah, because you basically have a 200-yard rifle.
It can go up to. I've been hitting things at 300 yards.
That rifle is marked to go out there, but once you get past about 200 yards, you're volley firing. That's really for volley firing at another organized unit. I'm talking about point target. It's like an M16A2. It's 550 meters for a point target to shoot one man, but 800 meters to shoot an area target.
Okay. What I was having to do is the 100 yards was having normal sights, like this. I get everything in frame. 200 yards, I had to kind of back it up a little bit, and for the 300 yards, I was actually able to. Well, no, I just noticed this. There is a 200-yard notch. Damn it.
Yeah, there is one down there.
Yeah, the 300 yards. There is a 300-yard mark. It's not at 300 yards. It shoots an inch low with the lead roll bullet. So I manually compensate. At 400 yards, since I had never shot that far before, I didn't know about how far the bullet drop was. So I was an inch and a half low on a man-sized target. And I was climbing up, but I only had 5 shots. And it was the best of 4. So, and sometimes it takes you 2 or 3 shots. Okay, this is where I'm hitting, and I need to move up.
Well, what it is you don't have typically a 400-yard range that you can go out and fine-tune that rifle so you know what you're doing from the get-go. You had to figure it out on the spot.
Yeah, and that, like I said, the 400 yards up until the 400-yard target, I was in the top 5. In the percussion, it was broke down to cartridge until the 400-yard. It was broke down to percussion cap, percussion, down, and then brass. And then when we got to the 400 yards, they kind of combined it because there's only 10 people that moved on to that stage. And I didn't place bottom of top 10, but I mean, I'm happy with top 10 with this. I mean, it's what, 160 plus years old technology? Something like that?
1859.
Yeah, I mean,
60,
and I'm
79, 89, 99, 2009, 160-year-old design.
yeah. So, and I mean, I was hitting the first shot hit right here. That's not somewhere I would feel comfortable getting hit.
That's like the worst place to get shot with a big 54 caliber bullet because you're going to have a long, slow death and there's nothing they can do for you.
And then the second was in the belly button, and then the third were up in here, where the bullseye, near the bullseye. So, I mean, like I said, that shooting at 400 yards, it wasn't that hard. Of course, we had 400 yards where you're shooting those shooting seas, so it wasn't hard to tell. Oh,
you need to get you, if you don't have them, get you a very small triangular file. And what you're just going to have to do is try to get out someplace with a 400, to get out 400 or 500 yards. And like when you flip that up to 200 yards, if you're a little low, then you need to start, you're going to have to file that. That thing doesn't have a big front sight, so you really can't take anything off that front sight.
At 100 and 200 yards, it's shooting point of aim. It's after at 300 yards is where I start getting that drop.
Yeah, because that's a big bullet at low velocity. You're it's like my 458. You're dead on. You're a little low at 100. You're dead on at 150. You're 14 inches low at 200, and then you're 52 inches low at 300. It's basically, it's going to keep coming up. You hit it, and then it comes down, and then it just falls.
It's like I said, if I had been able to go out more and shoot at those ranges, it probably wouldn't.
That's something, I've got my 458 zeroed at 25 yards. It's about an inch high at 25 yards. I've got to go out and shoot it at 100 and 150 and 200 to figure out where it's going to hit. Go ahead, Jeremy.
This is what I normally compete with, right? And the farthest we go is 300 yards. I can't really adjust this front buckhorn sight. There's no place for me to put a peep sight on it. So I just had to learn how to Kentucky windage it.
Can I fuck with your head?
Well, kind of.
Hold that rifle up.
At 300 yards, I'm aiming like...
You see the back of that tape. All right. Right back there in the back, if you take a piece of string and you come right across the top of that front sight and right down through the valley in your rear sight, you'll make a straight line.
Mm-hmm.
And what you do is you drill a hole into that stock back there toward the top, and you stick a hole through it. Yeah, you drill a hole through there and tap and put a thumb hole screw in back of there. And then you pop that string right across the top so you know where the center of that thumb hole screw is according to where your sight alignment is at. And then you drill a peep sight in it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Unscrew it or screw it down.
But
that's how the old timers made homemade versions of the Lyman tang sight.
Oh, okay. Well, but Don, you got to shoot this.
Yeah.
You knew that we were shooting at what, 30 yards? 35 yards? I was able to tell you.
They're designed to be a 100-yard max rifle.
Yeah, and I was able, at 35 yards, I was able to tell you exactly where it was going to hit, and it hit.
Well, that's because you know your rifle.
Yeah, I mean,
But when I zeroed my trapdoor in, okay, Italian sights are horrible. All right, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Those who know me a little bit know my favorite pet name. I shoot these things more than I shoot anything else, but I got a name for them. It's called Italian trash. And the reason I call them Italian trash is because they're never going to be worth anything. They're not collectible other than the fact that you just love them and shoot them, but they're not investment guns. And they put the cheapest, crappiest, horriblest, most fucked up sights on the rifles that you can find, unless it's like the regular buckhorn sights and they got the little elevator in it that you can slide.
Yeah.
You know, you basically, it's like a staircase and you just slide it up and down. Okay, enough of that. But point is, when I did the trapdoor, Beauchamp is the Pedersoli national distributor. He gets them and then he sends them out to everybody else. So I talked to him because I got the last one he had when I bought mine 10, 15 years ago. Whatever. We had a nice conversation. He gave Pedersoli an original trapdoor carbine to take back to Italy out of his personal collection to duplicate. And what he gave him was a chopped down rifle. Because when you look at the side of that sight, it says R or C. R for rifle, C for carbine. So my Pedersoli trapdoor reproduction carbine is a chopped down rifle. Because he doesn't know, Pedersoli didn't know one from the other. He just made a gun based on that copy. So I had to basically, with my carbine 405 grain loads, I had to take a file to my rear sight and file that bastard in to get out to where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
So I basically walked up at 50 yards and I walked back to 100, 100, 200, and 300 yards. And I sighted it in. Now, on my rear sight, this would be a long flat spot. So everything down here is 50. There's one little roll it up right there, 75. And then I go to 100, 200, and the top is 300. And I got a little bit more manipulation. So if I got my P symbol here and I put my front sight right, I can't do this for the camera. So if I do it down here in the valley, I don't know if you can, you're going to get the idea. So I'm down here in the valley of my rear sight. That's basically 100, 200, and 300. If I bring that sight post up here to the top of my rear sight, that adds a 50-yard increment of elevation to get me out 50 yards. So if I go 100 down here, this would be 150. I go here 200 and then 300. You get the idea. But the point is, I had to go shoot that trapdoor with a file in 100-yard increments and file those sights in to get it to shoot. See, I would have a hard time hitting a target at 400 yards because I never planned on shooting my trapdoor past 325 yards. Because when I go here at 300 yards, that's not 350 because my bullet is starting to fall so fast. 152, 253, 325. It's just falling too fast. I don't have any way to manipulate the sights on my trapdoor at 400 yards. You probably beat me, Jeremy, because you have more sight than I do.
Well, I think it was they like to always throw that one wild card in.
Yeah.
Like one time we had to go shoot at a target that was no bigger than a pack of cigarettes at 30 yards. That's when I got the spinner. And you've seen at 35 yards with my cap and ball, I'm hitting inside of a man-sized head, and I'm hitting that still every other time.
What did that exploded all over the place with the cap and ball or your sharps?
Okay, say that again because you broke up a little bit. I'm not sure.
You remember when I shot the videotape and the film
that was
spiraling up into the air halfway?
With the
20 minutes to pick it up.
It took us about close to 30. That was the CVA Bobcat.
Okay.
And it hit and I watched the video. It hit the spinner, and there was enough force that it pushed past the spinner and exploded it. I wish I had been able to add that little slow-mo piece into it, but every time I try to take that slowed down piece and inject it into that little spot right there, it would corrupt the whole file. So I wasn't able to do it. Because I think that would have made the video even better. But that's just my
that was even in live action watching it. It was pretty wild just to see that thing explode 20 feet up in the air and take off down the canal.
yeah. But when this one's my beater, right? This is like you have. This is my Don Gertz Special 44 Remington. Eventually, it's on its way to being fully done. But the way the sights are now, I opened these up because on one side because it was shooting very far right. I opened it up. I moved it over. No, sorry, it was shooting left, so I opened it up on a little on the right. I think I did something and it put it more point of aim. Yeah.
You'd have to open the left side up to bring it left. You open the right side up to bring it back to the right.
Yeah, that's that. I got it right. Let's just say this. I got it to where it was shooting straight. Then it was shooting high at 25 and closer. At 30 yards, where it was meant to be shot, it was shooting a little high. At 35 yards, it was shooting more closer to impact area. So all I really did was I watched Blackie Thomas video, and he said to nip the tip off because certain light can mess it up and all that stuff. And I'm hoping to have him on the channel one day. And I just basically flattened it off and refinished it so it wouldn't shine. And that kind of really helped. That really helped put it in. The only problem I have with it now is low light. So I was thinking about if the person that I'm having do this Remington does a good job, having this one sent off and having a blade sight put on it that's brass.
I don't know. Can you see can you see my sight shining a little bit right there?
Yeah, and that's what.
Because if you look, that's kind of what I did with mine. Is I flatten it out, and let me get up here on my hat. Maybe it'll help. I can't. I have a hard time with my camera.
Right
See
there.
how mine got a little bit of a slant right there, and it comes up to a sharp edge.
Yeah.
Gleams in the sunlight almost like a bead.
I was gonna. Well, I like the way my Bobcat, has that brass front sight. It doesn't matter what light it's in. It always has that. It always catches it, and it kind of acts like a glow sight. That's what I was trying to think of. Glow sight. And I like that. So I'm sending it off to a gunsmith buddy of mine. It's not going to cost a lot. If he does a good job, I'll brag about it and have it done to this one, my beater. And then go through the process of making it shoot better. Because I don't know why, but I like brass front sights. And the only problem I had with when I was shooting yours, Don, is that I'm used to shooting the Remingtons. It's got this trough up here.
Yeah, mine's a notch on the hammer.
Yeah, and that I should have been used to it because I had a Navy. It took me forever to get used to that Navy, and this Remington, it didn't take that long.
I mean, close to a modern handgun. You know, if we're going to talk about a little bit what we're on subject now, and for the overall subject, if anybody ever got into trouble, or you live in a legal jurisdiction where you cannot have anything but a cap and ball black powder gun, that Remington is probably your best bet.
Oh yeah. Only thing I would recommend.
Conical bullets. If you need to modify the loading lever, Mark Hubbs basically used a bunch of different sized drill bits, a step drill into that, and then he got a little round type pointy polishing grinding stone.
I've got one.
Just poured it out smooth. So you can modify that if that's all you got, and you're gonna get into it cheap. All right, you'll spend $500 for a new Glock.
Mhm.
Go spend $500 to get go get a $200 used cap and ball pistol that works, or just go $300 to go get a new one, and drop a couple of $100 to improve the front sight, improve the loading area to where you can load a conical like Johnson & Dow military bullet in it. Go make you some paper cartridges for fast reloads. Get extra cylinders, or if you just have no. I mean, I've got Glocks, I've got modern guns, but I don't really shoot them. I carry.
Oh.
I carry my Colt 6-shooter most of the time.
It's the one I carry right here most of the.
I mean, this is my everyday carry right here. Now I've got it loaded 250 grain Corbon jacketed hollow points that'll mess your day up. But I'm just saying, if you're gonna carry it, spend some money on it, make it yours, modify it, do what you need it to do. Because I'll tell you what, you go pick up a Remington Sheriff's model. It's got what, a 5-inch barrel?
I believe so. I think I was going to pick one up to do a test, just to see what difference it would be.
You go get a Remington Sheriff's model, pick up an R&D Howell conversion kit for it, and you got 2 percussion cylinders. I'm not going to dig it out, but if y'all been on the thing, you've seen me with my little double Remington cylinder case. Get you a nice holster, a nice belt, set it up, and you will be shooting the equivalent of 45 ACP or Cowboy long Colts. And it is an effective cartridge with sufficient stopping power to defend yourself, your home, and your family with. And you're not going to be out any more money than if you just bought a Glock and a Serpa holster with an extra couple of magazine pouches.
Well, here's the now since we're on cartridge black powder guns, I load these to the original service, the big boy service loads. The original 35 grains of black powder, not the 30 grains with the filler on top. I think that's what they ended up using. With the bullet on, I think they used a bigger bullet to pour the powder charge and then a bigger bullet. I believe. But I'm using a lighter bullet, max charge. I've only had to fire this one time in self-defense. And it worked. The guy did not want to mess with me after. I'm just literally, it was just pull, boom, between the feet. It was over because it made so much noise. And I hate to say it, a lot of times the noise will scare people off. And cap and ball, I don't care what caliber, make a lot. Even 36s make a lot of noise. You can load that thing max charge, boom.
Jeremy, can I have it for a minute?
Yeah, sorry.
All right. No, you're good. All right. So if y'all can see this. Now, the problem you get by loading 45 Colts into a Colt cap and ball with a conversion kit is most of your overall cartridges are going to be too long to fit in the cylinder. They're going to stick out. Now, if you get a Lee hand loader with the priming, the hand primer, deprimer system, or whatever you decide to use, This is a full-length 45 Colt case. And I used the loading lever on the gun to load that bullet down inside this case, just like I was loading a percussion cylinder. That's a full-size, pointy Johnson & Dow conical bullet, and I just seated it down inside the case on top of 30 grains of black powder. And then I took my knife and my finger and I loaded beeswax and tallow on top of the bullet to lubricate it. So this bullet was loaded using the loading lever on the gun. You just take the empty case with a live primer, you load 5 bullets into your cylinder, and you basically load them just like you're loading your black powder percussion cylinder, and you seat the bullets all the way down and compress the powder. And then take the thing out and put your bullet lube up inside there. Now this is a very efficient cartridge over the percussion cylinder because you don't have any gas leaking out the flash hole from the nipple. It's all self-contained in the case. And all the pressure is being forced out the barrel and nothing's coming back out through the rear because you have a primer. It's black because I colored it black, so that way when I put it in my belt or whatever, a black primer means it's loaded with black powder for me. But that is an outstanding self-defense option. That's 217 grain conical bullet, the Johnson & Dow. And I loaded it into this case with the loading lever on my gun. Just by putting this bullet, an empty cartridge with a live primer in the cylinder, and I dumped the powder, the bullet, and rammed it with the rammer, just like I was loading a percussion cylinder. I'm rambling over and over now, but y'all get the idea. That is as effective for home and self-defense as you need to get right there.
On my lubrication, I'll be able to show it. But you're talking, I've been wanting to try it with the Remington, so hold on, just give me 1 second. Ah, here it is. I'm going to be building my reloading bench, so I've got a lot of things out of my room. Actually, at the point where I need a reloading bench. Here's the bullet. Just shoved a little on that.
It's probably 3 feet wide.
Mine's not gonna be that big, but okay. I'm going to put it on my other gun because this one don't have the plunger. That's why I usually carry it, because if I have to make a quick change, that plunger doesn't get in the way. Put that there for now. So, yeah. Ooh, that's cool. Live case. Into the cylinder. I don't keep mine on half cock, just to be on the safe side. My 3F. Oh, I got an overfill. That shouldn't be hard to fix, though. Yeah, I overfilled it big time. Hold on. This is for the skilled, apparently. Don. This is also the first time I've tried this, too.
Get your 30 grain nipple and go for it, or either use a powder measure. .38 special case or whatever you want to use. 357 would probably work really, really good too.
All right, that's leveled off. Probably should have put the powder in here first. All right, but that's a full case full of black powder. And I've got black powder all over my hands now.
That's okay. I got number 8 shot all over my desk. I gotta get up later.
That's gonna be fun.
I like when I run around and when I don't go barefoot too much in the house, but when I do and you step on that shotgun pellets, that always feels good on your heel.
Oh, I can imagine. I keep mine in a coffee creamer can. Hi, Vanessa Kitty.
Well, that's what I was playing with my shot bag earlier.
Well, I just find that it's easier to dig it out with my scoop.
Well, I just got it. That's the whole idea is if I want to go bird hunting, that I've got the shot bag and I can get quicker reloads. Because basically, if I just carry a paper cartridge with the powder charge in it, I can dump the paper. I can dump the powder, shove the paper in there. That gets compressed on top of the powder, almost like a wad. And then I use a shot bag and just dump the shot in the barrel. And whatever, if I want to use an overshot card, I can, and if I don't have to.
Then started.
Shot card, just don't dip your barrel down.
Let me get that. Oh, that's right. You've got yours modified. If I was to do this more often, I'd have to do that myself. It's under the ramrod. And then just, oh, I think I felt it seat. But yeah, that's as far as it's going to go. Basically, right now we're testing to see if you can do the same, what he was talking about on a Remington.
You can. You just got to make sure your bullets, you might have to modify your bridge there a little bit so the bullets are under easier.
I don't think it's seated. No, I didn't seat all the way. Either that or it has too much powder in it. No, this one.
You might have powder in it.
Might be. I'll pull it later. We'll try a 30 grain charge next time.
Well, I used a 30 grain charge, and that's 30 grain charge, and basically my Colt pushed that all the way down inside that case.
Well, your Colt also has that ratcheting system, so the more oomph it gets pushed onto it. Let me go get. I'm just gonna seat that.
It'll push it pretty much all the way down until it bottoms out on the rammer. I don't know if y'all can see up here or not, them little bitty holes, and it has a cammed action. Probably this has got the strongest loading lever of any cap and ball pistol there is.
And that's why I'm gonna be getting me one.
Because basically you've got, this is like a cam, and as it rolls, it's as strong as you can get.
Yeah, this.
Jeremy, I'm going to give you about another 5, maybe 10 minutes, and I'm going to have to call it a night.
All right. Oh, I'm missing a part. Goodness. I know where it's at. But any more, while I'm trying to do this, while I go run and get this real quick, any more little tidbits and advice you want to give people?
It's getting late, and I got a big mouth. I think I've done talked about everything on the subject that I can squeeze into the conversation. But yeah, something with an effective cartridge or an effective means of inflicting damage and stopping power. It's reliable enough that you can count on it to go off and work within reason every time. and you're proficient enough to hit where you want to hit at, black powder can still be a very, very viable means of self-defense. And if you're talking about using powder rifles with big 350, 400 grain bullets, it's pretty awesome.
Before anyone asks in the comments, how long can you leave your cap and ball cylinders loaded?
Well, I don't use a lubricated wad when I load them. Because if you have a lubricated wad like boar butter or something, that can kill or reduce or impair the charge over time. So I basically dry ball load. When I load, I put, I don't have one out here, my paper cartridges.
Mm-hmm.
I put a bullet down over the top of it, and then I dip it in beeswax, and I go down to the base of the bullet. So the lubricant never contacts the powder charge. As long as you have dry powder and an unlubricated, nothing inside there with the powder, you can leave that thing loaded indefinitely. I mean, there's guns that have been loaded for 150 years that'll still go off. But the trick to having reliability is about every 30 days that you keep that gun loaded, pull your caps and put some fresh caps on it. That way, any moisture or whatever. Now, I know you can put fingernail polish and you can seal those caps and stuff. That's all fine and dandy and great. Take a little pocket knife or something and pop those caps off every 30 days and put some fresh caps on it. If the caps are still good, put them in a can and use those for plinking, because it don't matter if they go off or not. But then you also get an idea about if you got a good batch of caps, they're on there for 30 days, you pop them off, you put them in the can, then you go out and you go off, then you know if you would have went 35 days or 40 days or 50 days, it would have still worked. But that's the trick. Keeping it loaded, not a big issue, but change your caps. If you got like slick shots, something that's going to work well, the bang caps, the plastic ones for the toy guns, some people use those, you know.
I was going to get some and try them out on the Remington, just because that's what I've got. And no, what my problem was is this one wasn't case size, so to priming and then to a box, and I didn't open the mouth up, so it dug into the bullet. It shaved a little ring of lead off.
How many months has it been? 65, about 65 days since I came to shoot with you?
It's been about 2-3 months, something like that.
This cylinder has been loaded for at least 90 days. And I've had cylinders loaded for up to 8 or 9 months. And if I wanted to load this into my gun right now and use it for self-defense, the only thing I'd do is I would yank the caps off and put some fresh caps on it. But I would dare say, being that this has been stored indoors and climate controlled, and it hasn't been outside, inside, outside, wind, rain, and weather, I'd say at least guaranteed 5 out of 6 are going to go off if I even have a problem at all.
Well,
I didn't. Now, if you're talking self-defense, this is what I've got and all I've got, and you're only going to shoot it 6 times, maybe 12, okay, 18 shots. I got 3 cylinders. I got 18 shots. Don't even use any lube. There's no point in it. You're not going to shoot it enough, and it's going to be at point blank range from across the room, and your first 6 shots, you're not going to mess the gun up enough to worry about it. If you know you're going to go shoot it and you're going to shoot it before you come back, you can always put the lube on the end of the cylinder at any time. You know, but there's no wad, there's no lube, there's no nothing. This is just bullets with black powder, and the caps are probably 90 days old. And I wouldn't have a I wouldn't have one corpsman just throwing this in my gun and going out right now and using it if I had to, for self-defense.
Well, I had a video. I still do, I believe, on my channel where I carried.
This is the double cap case, by the way, or the double cylinder case.
I literally carried as an everyday carry in the kind of like a cowboy would do, or a soldier. Pistol, the Colt in the Navy when I had it on my hip every day. The way the caps on it, the same caps. I took it out after a month, I believe it was. And the only problem I had out of it was the caps. Well, literally, that's the only problem I had out of it was the cap.
Like I said, change it every 30 days. Change the caps.
I mean, I loaded 5. I had 4 out of 5 go off. And that 5th one, a little moist. It wasn't seated right, or wasn't something. Something wasn't just right, and it got moisture in it and dead capped. But anyway, guys, if you like anything you've seen here, like, share, and subscribe. Don, you've got all things black powder.
All things cowboy, black powder, revolvers, and rifles.
Yep. And as long as you don't sit there and break the blatantly break the rules, you ain't going nowhere.
You know what? It takes a lot to get kicked out of my group. It really does.
Now, I have had to kick one. I've been an admin, almost since April?
For a while.
I think it's been April, and in that time I've had to banhammer one person.
I want to start using my M1 Garand more, so I ordered this stuff all out of Amazon. I think I spent $212. I already had the actual Garand cartridge belt, but it gets so doggone heavy. I got the suspenders, the mutton pack, I got the canteen, and the first aid pouch, and I've got a leather holster, leather magazine pouch, and a canteen coming yet. But this is going to be one of my hog hunting bushcraft 8-packs.
I've got an Alice pack that I've been using for the last few years as my hunting pack. But I go out.
I carry those things so much I tried to give them up. I actually gave mine away. I missed it. I bought another one and I haven't got the frame for it yet, but I got some backpacks. I don't know what to do with them all.
My mother found it, I think, at a military surplus shop. It was just sitting there and had a sticker for $10 on it. She snatched that thing. Frame, everything, $10. Oh, and the cool thing about Remingtons is they're really fast to change out those cylinders.
Yeah, because this one you got to tear the whole gun apart. You got to knock out the wedge, pull it off, take the cylinder, separate it, put it back. It's a pain in the butt.
And even if you're just using R&D cylinders, the only thing I've had to do to this R&D cylinder is bevel that little. You can probably see it where I've had to bevel it a little bit, where I take the rough spots out. Right there, just the little rough spots out. That is it, and ever since then, slides right on in, like no problem.
Well, we'll probably talk about this. If you're going to use them for self-defense and you want multiple cylinders. Now, this is the R&D. I'm going to tell you what Taylor Firearms Gunsmith told me to do, and it works. Is when you get these, sometimes when you try to cock it, it won't allow, it's all bound up. And there is a right way to do this, and a gunsmith will tell you that I'm fucked up, but this is what the gunsmith at Taylor's told me. Now, he said he uses a belt sander when he does it because he does it all the time. I use a sharpening stone. This is what I use. But the locking bolt is the part that catches the grooves right here, and it locks the cylinder. So there's a spring and there's a hand, and then you got the star. And as you cock the hammer, it rotates the cylinder. And as this starts to rotate, it pushes down on the locking bolt. Okay, if my hand is the spring, and this is the part that catches the little groove in the cylinder, all right? As you cock it, it's supposed to go down and release the cylinder. So what you do is you take it out, and you do it a little bit at a time, just a little bit by little bit by little bit, because it's easy. It comes off easier than it goes back on. And the only way to put it back on is get another part. But you put your sharpening stone, and you take the top of that.
Here, Don, here. It's going to be easy to show on my gun.
Yeah, show them on yours right quick. But the locking bolt is the thing that locks the cylinder, and it's down here on the bottom on the inside of the frame.
Right there.
You just take a little bit off the top of that locking bolt, so as you pull this hammer back, it gives that bolt a little bit more time with less travel to unlock the cylinder, so the hand, with the spring in the hand, can come up and catch the star in the back of the cylinder and start turning it. And the gun is unloaded, by the way, in case y'all are. But that's all you got to do. And I don't like taking it off the hand. Okay, the hand, when it comes up over here to rotate the cylinder, I don't like taking it off the hand. But I don't want to take too much off the locking bolt either, because I want to make sure it's got a good chunk of meat to hold that cylinder so it doesn't spin. Now, bear in mind, I had this gun and 2 other Colt Navies. Now, the difference is the front of the barrel and the grip frame, but the cylinder and the bottom are the same thing. They use the same parts for the Navies and the Armies.
Mm-hmm.
With manufacturer specific, either Uberti or Pietta. This is the Pietta. So any other Pietta, Army or Navy, brass, steel, whatever, it doesn't matter, is all the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Take a little bit off that pawl, and if you have to, you can take a little bit off that hand. The hand is what you really don't take it off when you cock it all the way, and it pushes it. Basically, when the cylinder locks and you still got a little ways to go for it to fully cock, is when you're going to have to take that hand off. If you take too much and you cock it and it goes to full cock, but then the cylinder turns the rest of the way to lock, then it's too short. But my point is, when you get these cylinders are not, they're CNC machined, they're good quality, but they're not the same. So when you got 3 guns and 6 or 7 cylinders, and you want all 7 cylinders to be interchangeable to all 3 guns, you got to figure out what works that's the smallest and the tightest fitting gun, because you can open up the forcing cone on the barrel and everything else. But when you got high spots on this cylinder, you get your good 2-inch sharpening stone, and you lay that cylinder flat, and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you turn it 180, or you turn it 90 degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you turn it 90 degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you turn it 90 degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4. But basically, you want to get that cylinder from each angle, and you go about 5 strokes at a time. And it's labor. It's not labor intensive, but it's time intensive. Because remember, you can take the face of the cylinder off easier than you can put it back on. And what you do is you take like a purple or a red alcohol marker and you color it. So as I cock it and I didn't do it, and then I pull the front of the barrel off, I look at that cylinder, and if I see silver on one part of that cylinder, that means it's higher than the rest of it. Then you can use a stone, or you can use a file. A file is for fine work. The stone is for finishing work to completely even it. But that's how you figure out what's high and what's low, is you use a colored alcohol marker. And whatever's shiny is where you keep it, you take it down, and then you recolor it, and then you try it again until it comes out even. And you take the tightest fitting gun that you have, and you make all the cylinders work in it, and that means it should work in all the other guns. if you've got where you make that cylinder work perfect in this gun, and you get 3 or 4 of them, but you got one gun that they're too small for or whatever, that means somebody, for whatever it is, it's already opened up too far. You're going to need to dedicate a cylinder just for that gun, and then you can sell it. Most people aren't going to want to have multiple cylinders, but I'm just saying, however, whatever you want to do. But you can make these cylinders work in multiple guns and have a bunch of cylinders. I think I had 7 cylinders plus my conversion kit. So I had 7 or 8 cylinders, and they worked in 3 different pistols. They were fully interchangeable.
On our both, all I had was some high spots here. Guys, I've got them out. I got them off, and right where the locking grooves were on, it was scraping a little bit. The locking lug was scraping just a little bit, so I took some marker, and I'd seen where the high spots were, and it was just like this very fine little ridge on both guns. I knocked it off. I just took some polishing sandpaper and just polished so it all, and just took it all off. Took me about 20 minutes and then I just took a little sharpening stone to put it on there. Works just fine. And I mean, I don't know. Comes up just fine, and it locks it and everything. But anyway, we got to end this because it's getting late.
I'm already 7 minutes past my deadline that I gave myself, so I'm going to sign off, and I hope y'all found this interesting and maybe a little bit helpful, and hopefully we didn't ramble too much.
But anyway, guys, like I said, if you like what Don was saying, he's got a lot more useful stuff on his Facebook. Go check it out. I think one of our members made up another group on MeWe as well. I'll try to put that. Yeah, I'll try to put that down in a I'll probably do like an expose of the group and put all the links that are associated with it down below in the description one day. I just got to get the time. Tomorrow's dedicated to reloading bench, reloading bench, reloading bench.
Well, if you want to join our Facebook groups, it's all things cowboy, black powder revolvers and rifles. And I have a second group by pretty much the same name, all things cowboy, trade blanket. And the trade blanket is you can get like 100% beaver hats. They're usually $1,000, $1,200. I think CJ Lander sells them sometimes for like $325.
I think
you can find gun leather there. You can find spurs, boots. People have sold horses, trucks, trailers. I mean, we sell anything and all things cowboy.
Except for because of Facebook rules.
Facebook rules. So you can't say, hey, anybody got a gun for sale or I got a gun for sale. Sometimes you can ask, is anybody getting a little short on room inside your gun safe? And don't blurt it out. I've got it rules pinned on the group. Just read my rules before you ask anything. But we do not allow any excess or shortage of gun safe comments on the main group. There's over 7,000 people in it, so we're very protective of that one. The trade blanket is named All Things Cowboy Trade Blanket Volume 1 because sooner or later there's going to be a Volume 2, a 3, and a 4. But anyway,
well, probably. And I think we got a MeWe group for that one as well too.
Yeah,
so
there's a MeWe group. They just not that many people on MeWe, so you got 45 members versus I think
but
1,600 members on the trade blanket right now.
Something like that.
Yeah, 7,000 in discussions, 1,600 in trade blanket, and we've always got a lot of good posts there, historical and modern cowboy. Well, I'll call it a night. So y'all have a good one.
Night, everybody. I'm gonna finish off my jack and hit the hat. So see y'all in the next one.